So Argentina are the first side into the World Cup final, led by Lionel Messi. And his performances at this World Cup have led the debate again. Is he the greatest of all time, or is it Maradona, Pele, or Cristiano Ronaldo? Well, Maxi Rodriguez says picking between Maradona and Messi isn't easy.
Mira, es algo que se viene hablando de, creo que empezó Leo a jugar en la selección, de cuál de los dos es mejor. Y creo que es una opinión personal y es una opinión que tendríamos que tener todos, de disfrutar a los dos. Porque Diego Maradona fue el mejor en su momento y hoy lo es Messi. Y nosotros tenemos la posibilidad que los dos son argentinos. Entonces, disfrutémoslo. Es como cuando te hacen elegir con quién te quedas, con tu mamá o con tu papá. No, queremos a los dos, lo disfrutamos a los dos y tenemos nosotros la suerte que son argentinos. Así que la verdad que es un privilegio disfrutarlo con la camiseta de la selección argentina.
Well, when you want a definitive view of Lionel Messi, you go to South American football expert Tim Vickery, who joins us now. Tim, very good evening. Nice to see you. Last night, was that Messi's best performance in the blue of Argentina?
He scored more than 90 goals for them, so he's been doing something right over the years. I actually think that the most important thing that he's done in this World Cup was the goal against Mexico in the second game, when they were being gripped by panic and the possibility of going out of the competition. And then he came up big with a goal that they really, really needed. You know, Mike, I often think that the highlight of what I ludicrously call my career was way back at the start of 2005, South American Under-20 Championship. Argentina had called up this little 17-year-old that even they didn't know much about. There was he'd played one friendly for Barcelona. Spain wanted him, so if there's something special, let's try and get him first. And when we saw him, you just look at him, look at him, floppy hair. He looks like the mascot, And as soon as he got on the ball, all of us just had a collective jaw drop. We're in the presence of something very, very special. And he's done many special things over the years, and plenty of those things with Argentina as well. So I wouldn't like to say that was his best game. I think there have been lots of great games over the years, but none bigger than Sunday's final.
Oh, absolutely. But it may be difficult for people to remember, but he's not always been loved by the Argentina fans. For those who don't know why, tell us.
Well, remember, he grew up abroad. He was in Barcelona from the age of 13. So there was a kind of distance from him, and he's a kind of Maradona of the PlayStation generation. He wasn't the most communicative of figures, and they didn't think they really knew him, and they didn't think he was one of them. Over the last few years, that has really changed. I think a lot of that is a self-conscious attempt by Messi to be different. We saw this for the first time in the Copa America in 2019. There had always been a feeling, that his quite reserved, self-contained nature, it inhibited some of the younger players. Imagine you're called up by Argentina. All you want to do is win his respect on the training ground. And if he doesn't speak to you, if you don't know if he rates you or not, that can have an inhibiting effect. Suddenly in 2019, you couldn't shut him up. He was vocal, he was encouraging, and he's been like that ever since. The change has been really dramatic, and even at the end of the Holland game, the quarter-final, he's kind of swearing at the Dutch in street speak of Argentina. So the people now can look at him and think he really is one of us. He's not Catalan; he's one of us. Over the last few years, there's been no doubt about it. The priority in his sporting life has been the Argentina national team, and the fans have really, really seen that and responded to it.
And if he goes on and lifts the World Cup, will he be held in the same regard and esteem as Diego Maradona?
That's a difficult one, and maybe it's a one for generations. There are things that he can never have. He can never have that game of Maradona, the quarterfinal in '86 against England, and the way that Maradona scored those two goals. Maradona was living out a deep, deep Argentine fantasy. You couldn't have scripted that, what happened in that game. Messi will never have that. And the song that the Argentines sing, the fans are singing all through this tournament, a lot of it is about Maradona watching from the heavens now that he's together with his parents. So there's a kind of identification that I don't think Messi will ever exactly have, in part because he doesn't have the flaws and the vulnerabilities of Maradona, but he's getting close. And if he can lift that pot, he'll get closer still.
There is this debate: is he the best, or is it Cristiano Ronaldo? But is that even a debate in South America?
Well, after this World Cup, no, and thrice nay. The debate really now is, where does he stand against Maradona and Pele? I think the idea that people could even consider that Cristiano Ronaldo was on the same level would be seen as almost sacrilege by many now in South America.
You mentioned songs earlier. I've got to ask you about the song that the Argentines were singing in the dressing room after they beat Croatia. I noticed the English got it a bit. Just explain what was going on.
Well, every nation needs someone else against who you define yourself, I suppose. And in the case of Argentina, England provides a lot of that. It's not just about the war in the Falklands in '82. It goes far, far deeper. Argentina was kind of an informal part of the British Empire. That's why football arrived there. And so the English held the purse strings. And so there's always been a kind of difficult relationship. But, Michael, don't take it personally. The first time I went to Argentina, it was in January of '96. That's just 13 years, less than 14 years after the war. I was worried as an English person. They couldn't have been nicer. They couldn't have been more civilized. And all they wanted to do, the people, when they found out I was English, they wanted to talk about football and they wanted to talk about bands, especially Iron Maiden. I couldn't really help them with the Iron Maiden chat, but I could help them with the football. I felt, despite that rivalry, I didn't feel that it spilt over into anything that was aggressive or unpleasant.
If you could have helped them with the Iron Maiden chat, I'd have ended this interview right now. But luckily you couldn't. I'm going to talk about Brazil as well, Tim. Obviously, they were favourites going into this. We know what the country feels about its football. Give us an idea of the reception that the players have had since coming home.
Well, when Brazil go out in the World Cup, there's initially a kind of shock and sadness. It's like a death in the family. That then can go to anger. Historically, the coach suffers more than the players do. I think many of them are still processing it. It's endless post-mortems. I've just gone back from a 4-hour TV show here when we're picking over everything. But especially now, there's a feeling of jealousy because Brazil eliminated by Croatia, and then Argentina beat them 3-0. So there's look at that and think, well, why couldn't we do that? What have they got that we haven't? And obviously one of the answers is Lionel Messi.
Indeed. Tim, always great to speak to you. Thank you so much for joining us. And it's been a great career and long may it continue. Well done.
Thank you.